YouTube, it is Skinny Moose. I tried to record the editing process, and when I did, halfway through the video, it did not fucking have sound. So I'm back again. I am bringing y'all Rise, the underground tournament, the Rise Underground, the Outlaw tournament, happened Saturday, April the 30th, 2022. Now, Rise is a promotion over there in England, and the Outlaw tournament is one of the best tournaments I've seen from them by far, and a lot of people has agreed that this Outlaw tournament is on point. So your first round is Michael Caton versus Alex Cologne. Now, the seven of these men in this 8-man tournament is Alex Cologne is from, so they start off by breaking tubes over their own head, and then they link up. Cologne normally does break tubes over his head. He's brutal as shit. I mean, he's been in a lot of different promotions. So Caton does a waist lock, Cologne breaks it, and then throws Caton to the light tubes in the corner. Caton rolls out, Cologne dives out with light tubes. Hits Caton, and the tubes don't break. So basically, you know what a waist lock is, and Cologne prods his arms apart. He then reverses it like it goes Caton through the light tubes. I don't know what it is over there in England, but them tubes are hard to break. And you'll see that when here in another round, they saw off the sawboard, dragged it across Caton's head. So basically, I haven't seen a sawboard in a while, and all it is that has a sawboard is a board that has multiple hand saws on it. I'm not sure because I haven't really seen them that they're not as common as they used to. So Cologne grabs 2 tubes, goes to the entrance, kind of turns around and runs at Caton full speed. Well, not knocking out, but when he runs at Caton, he goes back here to the entrance, like where the fans are running at him, start hitting each other with Michael Caton's shovel, because Caton had a shovel. I didn't see him bring it out, but like I guess Cologne hits Caton with a light tube fan, then puts a submission of a bundle of tubes on Caton and jumps off the top rope, going for a pin. Caton kicks out, Cologne puts a submission on it, wins by referee stop. Darko's Lou Nixon match was on point. First, Nixon slams Darko onto a bed. Nixon grabs two stick baseball bats with forks on each end and gives one to Darko. They start fighting. So there's like 2 sticks, and on each end is like a wiffle ball bat with forks. And then they start. Darko sets up kind of a contraction with 6 chairs and tries to put Nixon through it. Instead, Darko was trying to make, but it was on the outside of the ring, and he got 6 chairs and he tries to put. But instead, Nixon puts Darko. Nixon hits Darko one time and then chokes him and wins. So Nixon is an MMA boxer, so I'm not sure what happened there, but then, and my favorite part, Iceman gets in the ring and talks for his son with the bet. Jack. This part, Iceman is a deathmatch legend in England. Like, we love Iceman. I'm from the States, but I know who Iceman is, and I'm a big fan of Iceman. I like his son, Jack, so here's one of my favorite parts of the whole thing. Jack versus B.A. Rose. Jack comes out with his dad, the Iceman. Jack and Rose link up a couple of times, then start swinging up a couple of times, then start swinging at each other and break tubes over each other. Jack gets shoved through the carpet strips in the corner. This time, both of these men. Rose runs at Jack and gives him a spine buster through the barbed wire. That spine buster was perfectly executed. Now keep in mind, these men are behemoths. I have Jack. He is really nice. And if you do not know who he is, please hit me up on my socials or comment. I will personally help you find Jack. I like Jack. He is a down-to-earth person, and he's wanting to come over here to the States. If he does, please support Jack. Gets out of the ring and grabs barbed wire, tosses it into the ring, gets in the ring, then wraps the barbed wire around his arm. The Iceman tells him not to, but he does it anyways and goes for an elbow drop on Rose. Now, he goes something like that, wraps it around his arm. The Iceman's like, no. And the commentator's like, that's the move that made his daddy something like famous, or that's his daddy's move or something. And he just takes his arm. Rose moves. Now, keep in mind, when Jack gets back up, he still has that barbed wire in his arm. He did not take it. Pushes the barbed wire into Jack's arm. Jack clotheslines Rose, and Rose rolls out of the ring to the ground. Jack stands on the ring apron and does an elbow drop onto Rose with the barbed wire wrapped around his arm. Now keep in mind, Rose is just pushing pushing the barbed wire to Jack's arm. And Jack possesses to get on the ring apron and drop down, and I'm like, damn, boy, you're a pro. Rose gets under the ring and gets barbed wire. Then asks the ref to help him wrap him in barbed wire. He comes on the ring apron and does a cannonball. He's looking under the ring, looking around, and they get this big old spundle while Jack's sitting. And he grabs this thing of barbed wire and he wraps himself in it after the ref helps him. The ref helps him and he does a cannonball onto Jack and knocks his boy clean out of the chair. Hey, but Jack's still in this match. Jack is still fighting. He has not given up. Rose puts Jack in between the ropes and puts barbed wire in his mouth, choking him with it. The Iceman throws the towel in for Jack, calling the match. So basically, Rose gets this piece of barbed wire, and he puts Jack in between the ropes, and he sticks it here, and he's pulling back. The Iceman, I guess from a father's point of view, because I'm a father, but from the father's point of view, he's like, I'm not going to see my son get hurt. So he throws it. I see where he's coming from, but if Jack would have won this, he would have been like the youngest European champion. So Jack's pretty upset. And I see where Jack gets to the back and goes off. Rose obviously wins. But Jack gets to the back and goes off on the Iceman. They start having words and pushing him. He's like, that was my opportunity. That was my chance. Some of it is, like you can't hear all of it making out. So they're arguing and Jack's over here pushing Iceman. Iceman's like, so basically, Jack and Iceman has a match coming up. I will definitely review this. Now, so Iceman and Jack's gonna have a fight. And I'm definitely going to. The reason why Jack wants to fight his dad is because Iceman threw the towel in and kind of knocked Jack out of the competition. Jack's like, let's fight now. And I'm like, now keep in mind, you got the Iceman, who is known for death matches, who's been doing it since 1999. He basically made death matches versus his son Jack. Now, like father, like son, these are two big men, two blood bath behemoths. It's going to get, I don't know who to take here. I mean, I can see Jack winning it. I can also see Iceman winning it because Iceman's been in it longer and he has an advantage because he knows the do's and the don'ts. But you got to think, Jack's young, Jack's fast, Jack's body ain't really that bad. So story. It's going to be good. And like I said, I'm not really taking sides. I'm just putting my opinion in. I really don't know who you're. Next match, it's still in the first round. It's Clint Majera versus Big F. They start breaking tubes over each other. Then they start breaking a bundle of tubes over each other. Clint's left arm gets messed up. So I couldn't make it out. But obviously when the ref grabs rags and tape and stuff and starts wrapping up the wrestler's arm, he gets his arm wrapped up. Of course, Clint keeps wrestling. The ref grabs the duct tape and wraps up Clint's arm. Joe grabs some crushed up light tubes and grinds it into Clint's head. So, you know, something like when they do the camel clutch position and they climb over top. Big Joe scoops down, grabs some light tubes and just grinds it into Clint's head. And I'm like, but Joe sticks a roll of razor wire. Okay, so head. Razor wire, it's not as common as barbed wire, but they use it in like prisons and jail fences and stuff. Some farms and stuff use it. Now, if you know what razor wire is, you know that shit has no remorse. It will slice you up like slicing butter through, like slicing a knife through butter. It just puts scars on your head. It just messes you up. I actually have a scar on my leg from some razor wire when I was younger. So after that, Clint puts a TV on Joe's back, then hits it with the chair multiple times until the TV breaks on Joe. So I want to say like one of them old plasma TVs, not the box TVs, but do y'all know when the big flat screen TVs first come out? They had one of those in the ring. Clint puts it on Joe's back, grabs the chair and hits it, and then he just hits it, and then he hits it, and then he just flips out. And then the TV just snaps. What are you trying to do? Break Joe's back? The tubes on Joe and then climbs to the ropes. Joe gets up, throws the tubes at Clint, then fixes the barbed wire ironing board. Joe throws Clint off through the ironing board and goes for a pin, winning the match. So there's this barbed wire ironing board. It's over here on the other side. And when Clint puts these light tubes on Big Joe, Big Joe's laid out. You know, he's laying there and he's waiting for the perfect opportunity. He pops up, he throws these tubes at Clint, fixes his barbed wire ironing board how he wants it, and Clint goes off. And I'm like, so, you have the semifinals, which is Alex Colon versus Lou. Now, keep in mind, if y'all know Alex Colon, he is really, really brutal. Lou Nixon, he is an MMA fighter, but he's also a wrestler. Breaks a light tube over his head. Then they start linking up and start hitting. Breaks a light tube over his own head like he did. Then they start linking up. That's one thing I like about the tournaments is they don't really get cleaned up or anything. They come out there with the blood from the last match and all that. And they makes them look more like I'm brutal and I'm ready to fuck you up. So then Nixon starts kicking Colon in the chest, then grabs light tubes, kicks them, busts more tubes, puts them down Colon's shirt, busting down. And Colon asks Nixon for more. So then Nixon grabs a bundle of light tubes and puts it down Colon's shirt, breaking it. So I'm not sure tower or what you would call it. No, the front just starts pow. And then does it again, pow. And then grabs that big one and pow. Now, some people say wear clothes and you get busted with light tubes, it hurts worse than having no shirt on because of the glasses still in your shirt. Still on you outside of the ring and they start breaking tubes over each other. Basically, light tubes are really common in the deathmatch world. They get back in the ring, break a couple tubes over each other, then start hitting each other like boxers. So, like I said before, Nixon is a MMA boxer. I'm not too for sure. So you gotta watch Lou's fucking dangerous ass hands. He literally lays people out. So Lou goes to hit Colon. Colon dodges and does a roll up. And wins. Roll up schoolboy, whatever you want to call it. And then he's out of the ring. That was unexpected for me. I was expecting more of a longer match. I was expecting Colon to get more brutal. I was expecting Nixon to literally punch Colon in the jaw. And Colon be like, flip. So then you got the semifinals. B.A. Rose versus Big F. This match went kind of fast, but it went kind of slow. There's a few highlights that I like out of it. I find kind of funny. They start smacking each other. Or they start shaking and raising each other. Definitely a sign of respect whether you do it. Joe grabs a huge light tube, breaks it down to nothing, then out a huge light tube, breaks it down to nothing, then does a cannonball, a huge cannonball. They both grab chairs and start going. They both grab chairs and start going chair for chair shot on each other in the back of the chairs. Then Rose rolls out of the ring and Joe throws tubes at him. Now, keep in mind, these are steel chairs, so they're popping each other in the back of the head. Then Joe rolls out of this ring on this side, so your left side. And Joe goes walking over there and he grabs a tube and he just drops it over and hits Rose in the head. So they get out of the ring. Joe puts light tubes on Rose, then grabs Little Joe, drops him onto Rose, trying to break the tubes. No luck. Little Joe breaks a tube over Rose. These light tubes over in England, they're kind of harder to break. I mean, literally, Big Joe picks up Little Joe. And these tubes does not break. Instead, Little Joe just slides. Joe goes for the fuckery cart, or the buggy. Grabs a fork board, tries using it, no luck. So basically, their fuckery cart has a bunch of different weapons in it that can Joe uses a thumbtack paint roller on Rose's hand. This is a paint roller with the handle, and it's got so he grabs it and puts Rose up against the ring and just grinds it across the man's head. Then Joe puts Rose in the fuckery cart with the light tubes and rims it into the ring post. So I was not expecting that. And I like how that was perfectly executed. And Joe just come up with it on point and out of the blue. Rose rubs Joe's head to the soft little wooden pit thing. And it has salt in it. So what he does is he grabs Big Joe and he leans his head down and he just grinds all of it into the salt. Joe goes, oh, fuck. Like that part. The part I like when they use the salt. I got something to mention at the end of this. Rose grabs a door, lays it down, and puts Joe grabs a door, lays it down, puts Joe onto it, and then climbs the scaffold and does an elbow drop. Here's like the stage, and I'm guessing Rose uses the metal part of underneath the ring to kind of prop it up or something. I'm not really for sure, couldn't make it out. But then they got a scaffold over here, so Rose climbs it, drops off, hits him with his elbow. That didn't really do much. It does something, but you'll see. They get back in the ring, and Rose gets ready to drop Big Joe. But Nathan Black comes out and drives Rose through some tubes and went. So, from my understanding and what I seen, Rose had that match won. But Nathan Black comes out there and stands and just watching Rose, and Rose is like, so Big Joe, there could be anything you cannot do in wrestling, whether it's professional, whether it's deathmatch, all of it's professional. Mainstream, indie, you do not take your eyes off. Holds up Joe's hand and goes out with Joe. It's a sign of respect. Like I said, I like it when they show respect. Now, the Outlaw Tournament, final to crown the first ever European Deathmatch, 200 light tubes. Two sides of the ropes has barbed wire wrapped around it. The other two sides has light tubes wrapped around it. Your contestants are Big F and Joe versus After Clone gets in the ring for making his entrance, he busts Big Joe with a huge bundle of tubes, then breaks over Joe and starts stabbing Joe in the leg with a tube. So Cologne, they got these rings set up. Cologne gets into the turnbuckle and he gets down. Now, Cologne is fully dressed. He's got on a nice outfit, none of clothes. Big Joe, he wears a shirt and some underwear. And just gets himself dressed or whatever, but it's more, basically, he has more maneuvering. He can move better, but his legs are bare. So when Cologne starts stabbing him, he has no protection, no clothes, no knee pads, no nothing. And Big Joe does not wear knee. He's just straight. Cologne throws Joe through one side of the tube. So then Joe tries to throw Cologne through the other side. And Cologne reverses it and winds up putting Joe through this side, then this side. So I like that. I like how perfectly that was done. And this match was really, really good and a lot of big points. Cologne keeps breaking light tubes on Joe and then stabbing him in the bare legs, as I said before. Basically, if you got a part that's open, like Tremont has a scar on his head, that's what they go for. Hoodfoot's messed up his arm, so they go for that. Big Joe don't wear nothing on his bottom half besides underwear, so they're going to go for his legs and his knees. They start hitting each other in the face, then they start breaking tubes over each other again. So, like I said before, the light tubes are our deathmatch wrestler's best friend. So when you watch deathmatch wrestling, you are always going to see some type of tubes. They start fighting on the ring apron. Cologne tries to put Big Joe on his shoulders. Joe breaks a tube over Cologne. He breaks a tube over. Then, after Joe breaks a tube over Cologne, Cologne breaks a tube over Joe. They start fighting on the ring apron. Cologne tries to put Joe on his shoulders. Joe breaks a tube over Cologne. Then Cologne breaks a tube over Joe. Cologne rolls back in the ring, grabs a long tube, and breaks it. Joe goes for a huge light tube shelf. So, Joe's a pretty tall man. From what I've seen, I've never really seen him live. And this light tube shelf is like tall itself. So, Cologne starts hitting, Joe down with these light tubes and then just knocks him off. And what happened was, after Joe gets knocked off, he goes through this light tube thing. And it's like, boom! And I'm like, oh shit. There for a minute, I thought Joe was out of it. Because that looked like, I know that hurt. But I literally thought that Joe was out of it. Cologne rolls Joe into the ring and goes for a pin. Joe kicks out, then puts Cologne into a submission. Joe grabs the ropes. Cologne has to let go. Well, you don't have to. Cologne puts tubes in the back of Joe's shirt, puts him in between the ropes, and climbs the top rope. Cologne jumps. When he does, he messes up his knee. They get up. Cologne runs to the ropes, the one with the barbed wire on the side of it. Then into Joe. Joe flips him through a bunch of light tubes on the hard concrete floor. So basically, these light tubes, or my fault, these light tubes that was in the back of Joe's back. When Cologne climbs to the top, he gets off to do I'm guessing double knees or break these tubes, but they don't break. And what happened was, when Cologne jumps off, he messes up his knee. Once again, these tubes does not break once again. So Joe brings in Cologne back into the ring. Now, when he hit this thing, it's between 20 and 50 light tubes going towards the stage. And Joe's bent over like this when Cologne runs at him. And he flips him and he goes through these light tubes. And I was like, fuck me, onto the concrete floor. Now, Cologne, the referee didn't stop it. Cologne's still in it. Cologne's a fighter. We know this. And Big Joe then brings Cologne back in the ring and does a Death Valley driver going for the pin. But Cologne, he kicks out. So I'm like, what the hell do you got to do to this man? Joe puts Cologne on the top rope. Joe breaks some tubes on Cologne. They fight on the rope while they're on the top rope. Cologne gets on Joe's back. Joe flips him, goes for a pin and win. So they're fighting, then Joe gets done, and he kind of gets in like, he's going to give Cologne a piggyback ride. So Cologne gets on his back, and Joe goes, ha, I got you now, and flips him. And when he does, he gets the pin, he gets the win, everything. And that was really good. So, yeah, the authorities wound up getting into the match and messing it all up after everything was said and done. So, I'm ready to see how it's going to play again. I will be reviewing a lot more English United Kingdom wrestling, but let me talk real quick. Alright, so I want to talk about Brandon Kurt issuing this open challenge when ICW goes to England. So, I would personally like to see Jack come out and fight Kurt and win the belt. Because I like Brandon Kurt, but obviously I'd like to see Jack get his name out here in the States. And in my opinion, if he wins that belt, the ICW belt, he'd get a lot of fame. Now, with that being said, when Neil Diamond Cutter went against Dr. Reactic, I just found this out last night, ladies and gentlemen, so I thought I might update y'all. He broke his arm when he fought Dr. Reactic in an ICW NHB 40 that I just reviewed. But he went to H2O, he fought Sakuda, and after that, he went and got checked. His arm is definitely broke. If you would like to help No Diamond Cutter, go to Deathmatch Worldwide, find his name, and buy some merch. That will be how you support him. If you need help, let me know. I have my socials. Drop a comment. We gotta show these boys some love. Like I said before, these men get in here, they do some fucked up wicked shit. Obviously, a lot of our boys has been hurt. We've had, wrestlers get hurt. We've had Cruel bust his head open. We've had Neil break his arm. We've had plenty more. We've had Hoodfoot almost lose his arm. When you step beyond those ropes with those weapons, you don't know what the hell is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what makes it different is how down to earth it is. I did watch the Royal Rumble. It was not what the hell I expected. It is WWE, so it's one reason why I quit watching it. As it's not what I grew up watching. But Skinny Moose is gonna sign off. I might be back later. I'll probably be back tomorrow. I'm not for sure. Chubby Chipmunk, I'm gonna try to get a hold of Chubby Chipmunk, see what he's doing, bring y'all a video tomorrow. But I would like to do another video next week sometime, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, with more Jack, more Iceman, more England stuff. We've been covering a lot of American stuff. Now I'm about ready to go some English stuff. A lot of the time we do not do Japanese wrestling, talk about them, without Chubby Chipmunk, so I don't butcher the hell out of their names. I mean, like, I could say, like, Jutasai and Takeda, but some of them names I butcher, and I'm not going to go put it on video butchering their names to hell and back. So I'm working on pronouncing it correctly. I mean, I don't want to half-ass pronounce it and I'll be like, oh, well, that's good enough. No, I want it to be exactly the way that it should.